Not that he actually had to use the smartphone because he's already smart. You know, I love the NFL, but I can't help to think about the NFL when we were growing up in the 60s. Let's just go back to a CBS television broadcast on any given Sunday afternoon, especially on a cold day like we're experiencing now, at my grandmother's house in New Brighton, eating a calorie-driven meal with nothing better to do other than to watch football on a black and white Zenith television set.
And who's the announcer? Dick Stockton.
Dick Stockton, yeah, Pat Summerall,
yes,
Tom Brookshire.
Yes.
Love the NFL, always have. And the Sable family, I miss them. I think about them all the time, but the legacy of the NFL films lives on out of Philadelphia. And I'll just say this. Football is great today, but the reason it's great
is because of what these guys did.
Yes, and we're going to talk about one of them who was always near and dear to my heart. Even though I love the Steelers, you remember when we were growing up, the Steelers, until the 70s, weren't doing much of anything. God bless Mr. Rooney, as in the chief, his son Dan, now Art II, and the entire organization moving forward and on the verge of another great season, hopefully all the way to the Super Bowl in Minnesota. But I love these other franchises like Buffalo, who I was so happy to see them get in because of Namath and the Jets, and it really was Broadway Joe that brought the AFL and the NFL together. I love the Philadelphia Eagles. I wish Carson Wentz could still be playing, but so be it. I love the fact that the LA Rams, I think of Deacon Jones, the interview that I did many years ago, spent a whole hour with him in the studios at KDK when we were One Gateway Center. Most captivating and charismatic individual I've ever met in my life. And because of him, a lot of these defensive players are now in the Hall of Fame, and I'm sure Joe Green would even agree, because he's the guy that termed the phrase sack, and he made it a big deal to become the leader during a season in that category, and no one did it better, by the way. But there was a guy who came out of Iowa, who was from that town that the Jackson Five was from, Gary, Indiana, who, sad to say, passed away a few years ago in 2012 at the age of 77, who went to Iowa, College Football Hall of Fame, Outland Trophy winner, and spent a whole lot of time in the National Football League. He actually played in 161 games, and yes, the biggest stat that they look at, because they didn't really look at sacks, if you will, when he started, was interceptions. But Alex Karras, and I know you have a reason on why he's not there. His lovely bride, Susan Clark, actress who starred with him in the television series Webster. They met while she was playing Babe Dietrich Zaharias, he playing wrestler George Zaharias. The bottom line is this. She's still alive today, 74 years young. I think that she would appreciate it. They had a great love between them and a child, obviously, of course, who would love to see the fact that his name, his bus, going into Pro Football's Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Before I go over this whole laundry list of stuff, Alex Karras, how is this guy not in the National Football League Hall of Fame? Come on, give me your best shot. Why is this guy not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
He makes the all-decade team.
Yes.
Okay? All right. And you've got to think about the D linemen that were in the NFL, that the fearsome foursome that you just talked about.
I know.
Okay?
Merlin Olsen, Rosie Greer, Coy Bacon.
Right. Okay. And you look at this, and this guy actually makes the all-decade team.
Okay, let me just go through
You know
this.
why he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, no, because I had a good argument on why he should be, because the other guy who got booted for a year is in the Hall of Fame.
Who's that, Pete Rose?
No, stop. I think he should be in baseball's Hall of Fame. All right, listen. NFL Draft 1958, round 1, 10th player taken overall. All right, Alex Karras, Detroit Lions, 58-62, and then he comes back in 64. We'll tell you why in a moment. And goes to 1970.
What happened in 63?
Wait, he signed with the Lions despite offers from the Canadian Football League, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The league, along with Green Bay Packers, Paul Hornung, they both said, you're out. Why? Because, well, let me tell you why. The missing year, he became involved in the Detroit Lindell AC bar. It became a source of controversy. The league urged him to sell his financial interest. After threatening to retire rather than give it up, Karras admitted to placing bets on NFL games was suspended for that year along with Paul Hornung. But let me just say, when he comes back, all in all, this is what his career stats look like. 4 Pro Bowls, 59, 61, 64, and 70. That was his final season in which the Lions went 10-4. As you mentioned, the NFL All-Decade team, and as I said, 164 games, 4 interceptions. His brothers Lou played for the Redskins, and Ted played for the Bears and Lions. In 1968, he made his film debut playing himself in the film adaptation of George Plimpton's nonfiction sports book Paper Lion. Several appearances on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. He also had a bit part in the Mary Tyler Moore Show, appearing in the farewell party scene with Rhoda, moving back to New York. Love Rhoda Morgenstein. And also, more acting jobs followed: The 500-Pound Jerk, Hard Case ABC starring Clint Walker, along with the 1974 hit Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles, in which he played Mongo. Monday Night Football for years. Back to Hollywood, Sheriff Wallace in Porky's, one of my favorite movies of all time. Blake Edwards, Victor Victoria, James Garner.
Not a good one.
Against All Odds with Rachel Ward and Jeff Bridges.
That's a pretty good one.
That was a good one. And Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell. Not that Saturday Night Live. That was on for about a millisecond.
Yeah.
TV shows through the year: Daniel Boone, MASH, The Odd Couple, Match Game 75. But the biggest show, Webster with his real-life wife, Susan Clark. Iowa Sports Hall of Fame, 1977. College Football Hall of Fame, 1991. Why is he not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Because of 1963.
Why is Horning in there?
Because he's a Notre Dame guy.
Oh, yeah.
That's why.
The luck of the Irish, huh?
That's just the way it is.
Was it because maybe he was like a grunt, a lineman, as opposed to a star running back?
And that's the issue.
Well, change it then.
Well, that's the issue I have with all of these, Heisman Trophy, All-American, Hall of Fame. The linemen are the guys who never get noticed. And, you look at this year, like I said, there's 5 offensive linemen that are up. Only 2 are going to get in. But you got all these receivers now. We're throwing the ball everywhere. These guys are, everybody's wondering why isn't Hines Ward in? And if you look at what happened at the time when he was a receiver, he was a consummate football player. He did it all. He blocked, he caught the ball, runs at yards after catch, things like that. But now, the statistics, people want points. It's all entertainment. They forgot about the guys up front. And this D lineman, he didn't even. I wonder how many sacks he had, how many tackles for loss. If they would go back and calculate that. I know, because he was a force. I'll give you that.
He was a force. And I'm going to leave it with you with this note. Your grandfather built houses, right?
Correct.
What was his name again?
Frank.
Okay. DeMarco?
Yes.
What was the first thing that he would say, probably building the home? Nothing matters unless you have a strong foundation.
That's right.
And those guys that we just mentioned
Made the NFL.
Yes, they did.
They made the NFL.
Yes, they
and
did.
I got to tell you, it's.
And can I tell you why I did this tonight? Because as I was home, as I always am, alone, standing, eating in the kitchen, for 5 minutes I turn on the television before I come here after a long day to spend time with you. There's a rerun of Webster on television.
And you start thinking about this.
Yes, and I almost started to weep because that's how much I love Alex Karras. And somehow, some way, more important people than me, and there are a few, like Bob Dvorak, Greg Douglas. I'm going to ask you the same question, and Ted Arnaud this Sunday on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. Why isn't Alex Karras in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Just a thought.
And I'll say the same thing about John Cole. Why was he never all conference? Won 4 Super Bowls, one of the best left tackle. I don't know.
You know what I would have done if I was John Cole? I just would have walked around the weight room.
Oh, yeah.
Just pumping iron. You know what I mean? That guy was incredible.
He still is incredible.
Yes, he is. And so are you.
Yeah.
And so is this young man,
This
Anthony
kid's
Mendocino
the
Jr.
real deal. Somebody's going to get a real football player.
Gets all that talent from his mother, huh? No. I'm just
No
joking,
comment.
Tony. Please. It's just a joke. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, remember to warm up your insides and your heart. It's the Papa family's incredible wedding soup. Ciao.